Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm flying solo again today. Anne had plans with an old high school friend of hers. She's going to be gone all day, and when she comes home, she's going to be tired. She's just going to go to bed and sleep. So we decided it was the perfect opportunity for me to come out on this solo adventure. I have some gear in the bag that I picked up over the winter, and I wanted to test it out this summer. This weekend is a good opportunity to test it out. So that's what we're here for. Now, I have a spot in mind that I want to get to. But when I was driving in, I noticed that a lot of the rivers and the streams and the ponds on the way in are still a little high. Don't know if I'll be able to make it to that spot. But it's very close to the spot where our favorite summer spot. So I'm going to strap on the bag. I'm going to head out to our favorite summer spot. And then from there, try and get in to this other spot that I really want to get to. So let's strap on the pack. It's a bit muddy in the trail, so I'm going to put on my boots, and let's head out there. So here we are at our favorite summer spot. And the spot I want to go to is through the bush that way. Now, when I got to the base of the hill, the water's a little higher than it was the last time we were here, which was 2 weeks ago. I was hoping it had gone down. I can hear the water running louder than usual in the direction I'm going. Usually the water's shallow and I can get across to where I want to go. Only one way to find out. Ready for an adventure? Now, there's always a trickle of a stream here. Still a little bit of ice there. See, this is all usually dry. There are people that come back here on snow machines. They sometimes make a little fire and do some ice fishing in the winter. I am not one of those people who has a snow machine. Oh boy. This is where we usually cross. How soft is that? And how deep is it? Well, I guess the best thing to do, I think I'm going to take off my pack and see if I can pick my way through without the pack and see what it's like. We have a good news, bad news kind of situation going on. The water's still too high. There's no way I can get across there and get to where I want to go. That's the bad news. The good news is that spot that I just walked through and said people have fires here in the winter, I can just as easily set up here. It's a beautiful spot. On the plus side, this is going to be my view for the evening. And if I step over here, that's the view behind me. I've got a few rocks kicking around, so I can make myself a little fire pit down by the water. It'll be out of the way. And we should have a fantastic evening. So that is satisfactory for me. I've filled in as many of the cracks as I possibly could. So I got out here a little bit later than I wanted to. It's lunchtime. I brought my Mastiff Gears stove. I've got it lit and I'm boiling some water. I mentioned last time that I had a few of these left. Well, there's only two. This is the other teriyaki chicken, which is what I'm going to have for lunch. The other one is what I'm going to have for dinner. So there's Mother Nature's cooler. A little crevice with some of the cold water from the river that keeps moving through it. So that should keep my drinks nice and chilly. So one of the new things I picked up is the Easthills Outdoors Jungle Explorer camping hammock. Comes with a bug net. It also comes with its own tarp. So I'm going to set these up, and that's what we're going to be sleeping in tonight. I bought this on Amazon. The entire kit was, I think it was $118 Canadian, but it comes with everything you need. There's two suspension straps, and they're a daisy chain strap. So they have a loop on one end, and then as you unroll it, at the other end, there's a series of loops that you hook your carabiner into to support your hammock. Hence the name daisy chain. It's a chain of loops. So let's set this up and see how it goes. I have not set it up yet. I opened the bag when I got it just to have a look at the straps that were sitting on top. And that's all I did. So this is all coming out, going up for the first time. We'll see if we can figure it out. If we can get it up properly, we're spending the night. If we can't get it up properly, we're hiking back to the car. Let's check it out, see what happens. So here's the end of the strap. I'm going to wrap that around the tree. Pull the chain through. So now I've got both daisy chains strapped to each tree. It's time to pull this hammock out and see what's happening. Now there's a lot of different colors. I chose blue and gray. It's a bunched together hammock with a fairly heavy rope already tied in a knot around a carabiner. Carabiner looks fairly solid. I'll take this strap and we just pick a chain, any chain for now, and hang it on there. And again, pick a chain, any chain, and hang it on there. From there, we can adjust. So now that we've got it here, we can adjust, go up a few daisy chains, come down a few daisy chains, and apparently these straps will hold up to 700 pounds. So as we can see, I need to go up. That's way better. Well, this should work out. Now, it also came with two bits of string so that we can hang the bug net. It's a thin little bungee cord. And then on this bug net, which is very small holes, there are 3 loops that I'm going to have to put the string through. Okay, so I've got the string through all 3 loops. Now I have to tie it to either tree. There's a second string because there's a second set of 3 loops, which is supposed to keep the bug net open a little bit and up out of your way. So this is strictly to support the bug net. It doesn't need to be super tight. It's elasticated so that as the hammock moves, it can stretch without ripping the bug net. So all I'm doing is putting a bite in the line. I'm going around this little branch, pulling the lines through and inserting a toggle, and then I pull it tight. When I need it to come out again, I just remove the toggle. The bug net is attached with 2 zippers, and they overlap quite a ways. One side is gray, one side is black. That can help you differentiate which end you want your head end, which end you want your foot end, whatever. But because they overlap that much, they overlap by about 3 inches, so that makes it more difficult for anything to get in there. It is fully removable. You can zip it, and when you get to the end, it'll actually go all the way around and come halfway back. You can take half the bug net off. You can take the whole bug net off. I'm leaving it on. I mean, it's cool enough. There shouldn't be any bugs. But I want to leave it on tonight when I sleep in it, just to see what it's going to be like. I'm going to kick off my shoes so I don't dirty the hammock. Now, it's a double wide, which gives me plenty of room. And they say that if you lay in it like I am now, my feet are up here, my head laid down, I'm like a banana. But apparently, if I twist my feet over and I twist my body over, now I lay a lot flatter. Oh. They also have a small cell phone pocket. There's one at this end, and there's another one at this end. So it doesn't matter which end your head is at, you've got a nice pocket. It's triple stitched. The stitching looks really good. Seems to be well done. So now the zipper's all closed up, and when I lay down, there is no bug net anywhere near my face. That lunch has been sitting long enough, so I'm gonna go get lunch. And now I have a nice spot to sit and eat it. Before I set up the tarp, I think it might be a better idea if I set up something else that I brought this time. When I was looking into getting a camping hammock, all the suggestions, everything I was reading was saying you need an underquilt, because otherwise you're gonna get cold, because the air coming through and hitting underneath, this is not very thick. It's very, very thin material. And just your sleeping bag, when you're laying on it, you compress it too much, so the cold air, you're gonna feel it. So when I ordered the hammock, I also ordered from Onewind, it's an underquilt, which is basically exactly what it says. It's an underquilt. It's a big quilt that you hang under the hammock, so that when you're laying in the hammock, you're laying inside the quilt, so there's no air that's going to get in. Now, I have no idea how to set this up. Like I said, I just bought it. Oh look, that's a stuff sack. Let's stuff the stuff sack in the stuff sack. Well, here's a carabiner, so let's clip that here. And here's another carabiner, so let's clip that here. I'm clipping this little carabiner to the other carabiner, and these have adjusters on them that as you pull through, it tightens it up. So I'm pulling them through to bring up the underquilt closer to the hammock. It also has a string that comes through to the other side, with a pinch clamp closure. So if I pull it up, notice how it's getting up closer to the hammock. So if I pull up the other side, it bunches the whole thing up closer to the hammock. So on a warmer night, I can loosen that off and let it down to let a little bit of air flow in. And if it's colder, I can bring it right up tight. And the quilt comes right up to the edge. So no air is going to get at me from underneath. It leaves just a little air pocket so that your body heat keeps it warm. So here's the tarp. Oh, another stuff sack for the stuff sack. That's going to come in really handy. The tarp itself is a gray material. The inside, I don't know if you can see the difference there, but the inside almost has silver on it. I'm guessing it's to help reflect your body heat back into you to help keep you warm. Here is that little pouch that was inside. It's got 4 very flimsy, very cheesy tent stakes. And some more guy lines. This tarp is set up. Apparently it's strong enough that to put it up, you don't need a guy line. You just tie it tight to the tree, pull it snug, and it should be good. That's how they want it. That's how I'm going to try it. Personally, I'm a bigger fan of guy lines. They're not calling for crazy wind tonight. They're not calling for rain. So I'm going to try it the way they want it. But the next time I come out, odds are good when I set it up again, I will set my own guy line and see how it goes. So I have run the line around the tree. I got a nice little knot up here, and I put it around that. And there's a nice sturdy branch here. So I'm going to come around, create a bite, pull the line through that bite, toggle, pull it tight. I had other stakes in my bag, and I knew they were there because I knew from the reviews that the stakes that came with this tent were not the greatest. Grab a rock and see if I can't find a spot where I can drive this in. Apparently the answer to that is going to be no. All right. Let me show you what I did over here. So the ground is too rocky. I couldn't get my stake in anywhere. There's nothing really around that I could have tied off to. But I found this groove in the rock. So I tied a loop into my guy line, put the stake through it, put the big heavy rock on top. And now that's not going anywhere. We are now set up in porch mode. The tarp's flying nice and high. I can now sit, watch the fire, watch the beautiful view that I have. Tonight, when it's time for me to lay down, I will unhook this line, retie it to the tarp, and bring it right down here so that it's sloped to the ground, and that'll keep all my heat in there. These trees are perfect for the hammock, but that tarp is cutting it close. I've got a few inches left to that tree and a few inches, with maybe 2 inches left to that tree. I cut up a bunch of firewood this afternoon, and I found this very dry piece of lichen. There's some of it growing along here as well, but I found this one that was already rolling around, so I figured I'd use it. I used my finger and I pushed a small little hole in there. And get a piece of charred cloth. Get the flint and steel. Spread it for fibers. Find a sharp spot. Let's try here. There we go, that's lit. Put that in the center. And there's a bit of a cross breeze coming right through here. Not very strong, but it should be just enough. And with just a little bit of help, I cleaned up all the ash that was on the ground where the old fire pit was, and I put it on the rocks here. So while I'm waiting for that fire to burn down, I took out my new fishing rod. This is Sougayilang. Wow. There, you might be able to read it better on this side. But it's a 6-foot collapsible rod. The rod fits here. The reel fits here with the handle. And it came with a small little tackle box with a little bit of tackle. A roll of 33-pound braided line, and an extra spool. These are the fishing rags that I printed out at home. If I have to wait for that to burn down, I may as well take a few casts and see what happens. Now we're going to get that water to a boil, and I'm going to go get my pouch for supper. While we're waiting for the water, I brought out that Pathfinder grill. I'm going to be setting that on the rock and pulling hot coals underneath it. Because those pouches are delicious, but for supper, they're a little small. I brought small sirloin steak. I'm going to put just a little bit of olive oil on that. On both sides. And I've got a little bit of Montreal steak spice that I added garlic powder to. I'm going to sprinkle some of that on there. Pat it in. And do the same to the other side. Cheesy lasagna with sausage. And there went part of my water. Oh, it already smells good. I'm going to set that aside. We're going to take our steak, set it on the log for now. Move a few more coals down here. Set the grill right over top. Grab our steak. And drop it on the grill. So, the steak is done. It's cooked to perfection. Or at least I would like to think so. Still nice and pink in the middle. And very tasty. The cheesy lasagna also very tasty, but apparently when you put the proper 2 cups in, it comes out like soup. But I'm sitting here eating my dinner. I went to Mother Nature's fridge, cracked open a from the Market Brewing Company. It's a Bear Hug IPA. And it's very good. It's got just a hint of citrus to it, which is great because I don't really like the taste of citrus in a beer if it's too strong. But this is just a mild, very mild taste. And this Bear Hug is quite delicious. But I figured if I'm going to sleep in a hammock and basically look like a rolled up sausage, I may as well drink a Bear Hug and hope I don't actually get a bear hug during the night. You probably can't tell from the front camera, but it's actually getting pretty dark. It's 10 after 9. The sun has gone down, so it's just the last little remnants of light. I'm gonna sit back. I'm sitting on the hammock right now, and I'm gonna relax and watch the fire. I'm burning off the remnants of whatever's left on that grill. Then I'm gonna let it cool. And I brought a dry bag for my food. I'm gonna put the grill in with the food along with anything else that may have a smell, including the garbage. And I'm gonna go stash that in the bush further back behind me. That way, if it does attract anything, it's not bringing it directly to the sausage roll. I should be nice and comfortable in the hammock. Oh, what a beautiful morning. I don't know how well you can see me through this bug net. Give me a second. Morning. Oh, wow. I slept like a baby last night. I flipped the sleeping bag around. I first went to bed and I woke up and I felt like my head was just too low. And then I thought, there's a zipper on both sides of this thing. So I spun the sleeping bag around and I just got back in from the other side. So now I got a beautiful view. Oh, it's going to be a great morning. Well, I'm going to lay back here. It's only 6:30. I'll lay here for a few minutes. Not very long. Just enjoy the view. And then we're going to get up and make some breakfast. and some coffee. This is the view from my hammock. Can you ask for better? If you're wondering how cool it is outside this morning, I left my fishing rod and the case for it just sitting out on the rock by the water, and there's frost on that case. So it's got to be right around the freezing mark at least. Final thoughts for this trip. Fantastic. The hammock, very comfortable. I slept like a baby last night. The tarp, it worked. Whether it leaks or not, I have no idea because it hasn't rained. But the seams are all taped. It looks like it'll work well. The only difference I want to make is I'm going to use a ridge line the next time. The tarp works well okay like that, but I'm worried that if there's too much wind or if it rains too hard, the pressure will push the tarp right down on top of me. Whereas with a nice tight ridge line, it'll stay up, the rain will run off it, it should be great. But all in all, I'm already looking forward to using it again. Somebody want to call my boss and tell him I'm not coming in tomorrow? I'm staying out an extra night. I wish. As far as that fishing rod goes, when I read the reviews on it, a lot of people said it was a good rod, it was a good reel. I went fishing for about 2 hours this morning. It's already 20 to 11. And it casts well, it reels well, the reel works great, the rod works great. I haven't caught any fish, so I can't really tell you how well it works or not. Once I start catching a few fish with it, I'll know how the rod reacts. I'll have a better idea. Now, the line that it came with, all the reviews I read, all had the same comment. The line is garbage. So as soon as I got it, I went and bought myself a roll of Berkeley XL, which is what I usually use. So I strung it up with Berkeley XL. I left the line that it came with in the case, just in case something happens and the XL messes up or whatever. But other than that, the hammock works fantastic. I was toasty warm all night long. The underquilt definitely did its job. Without it, I think I would have been cold. But with it, not a problem. It's a shame I couldn't catch any fish this morning, but can't catch fish all the time. That's why it's called fishing and not catching. Oh, what a comfy seat. So once again, I want to thank you all for coming along. It was a wonderful overnighter. And we'll see you on the next one.